Hi, everyone, and welcome to class today. I am Rachel Siegel from Sam's Bead Shop, and today we are going to be talking about some design ideas, some design tips, all about using florals in your spring designs, your spring jewelry. I have a fabulous piece by Patricia Healey Copper that is going to be the focal, the centerpiece of today's design. Mashed with a ton of beautiful gems and check glass. So I'm excited to have you all here with me, whether you're watching live or on the replay. So I was actually beading with Sarah Lovecraft a couple weeks ago on one of her lives, and she asked me, I think it was near the end of the live, she was like, what are you making lately? Like what's inspiring you creatively lately? And I know it kind of took me a little bit to kind of like figure out like what is the thing that's really getting me excited. And the thing that I eventually said was using artisan pieces in my jewelry designs. That's what's really inspiring me when I can have, whether it's a piece from Green Girl Studios or Patricia Healey Copper or so many of the other amazing artisans that there are here across the US, getting to take one of their pieces as the centerpiece of my design and then seeing what just flows and goes with it. That's what's really been exciting me. So that's what I'm going to share some more of today. So let me turn things around and show you some of these beads. So yeah, we have started to have quite a little collection of Patricia Healey Copper in the shop. So she is an artisan based in Arizona, actually like basically just outside of Tucson. And so this is the piece that today's class is all about. So I learned about her when I saw her booth when I was in Tucson earlier this year. And her pieces just like took my breath away. They just caught my attention so quickly. I mean, these copper colors with the oranges and the red tones, and each piece is like a work of art. So since today's class is all about flowers, we're gonna start with the largest flower to right in the center. But I wanted to show you our collection of her pieces are growing. So another kind of spring summer item would be this fabulous butterfly that we restocked. We launched these when we were in Tucson. They have this little bail on the back, so they're great for necklaces. This piece, her ideas are just so cool. It's so creative. This night sky pendant where the pieces like move. Like this moon kind of can shake a little, same with the star. And I love that it's domed to give it that like that 3D look. That's fabulous. We also have this rosette button with lots of texture. I don't know, these pieces they really speak to me. So I'm excited to make with them today, and I hope you will check out what we have. One thing I mentioned is that, every piece is handmade. These aren't casts. These aren't can't be mass reproduced because there's really handcrafted elements to all of them. So they're each going to look unique. So, I mean, here's a handful of these, and you can kind of see how the color can vary, the shaping, the sizing. Each one is a little unique. I mean, they're just little works of art. And I think that's what is so cool. So that is the main component today, but we also have some other beautiful beads. So in the link in the top of the description for this class, you can see all of the beads, all the materials I'm using today, but I'll go over them real quick. Here's some of the fabulous beads I'll be using. So these large 10 millimeter and smaller 6 millimeter are sunstone and peach moonstone mix. I also have 8 millimeter amethyst, these faceted rondelles in olive shimmer, as well as, I think this is peridot. Yeah, peridot faceted irregular rondelles. These are my spacers. I'm going to be using them a lot in my design. I also have these check pear brios in this like green luster. Oh, and then some basics. I restocked some of our Tierra cast oval jump rings in copper because those are very handy for this design. We have this fabulous toggle from Tierra cast. I've got some crimps and some 11O seed beads. And lastly, some wire and some stringing wire. So I liked the idea of mixing stringing and wire work. So you'll see that in my design today. So The wire I'm using is artistic wire. This is the bare copper 24 gauge we have in the shop. And then I'm using some medium soft flex. I don't think I have the spool with me anymore, but this is in the copper color, but any medium soft flex will work. So that's what you're going to need. And I'm going to kind of take you through my design process and start making this necklace all together. You're welcome to grab some of your floral beads, some of your flowers in your bead stash and start making with me. Let's start making our spring jewelry. So because this focal is such a statement and so large, I really needed to make sure that the beads that went with it also felt pretty substantial. I didn't want them to get lost or just be too dainty. It kind of needs to hold up to this focal. And so that's why I really wanted to have some of these larger beads, the 10s, the 8 millimeters, and putting those up close with the focal, I thought really balanced it well. The other thought I had with a large pendant focal like this is I think multi-strand necklaces are really helpful, also to balance the piece. So we're going to start with first a piece that's all about stringing, and then we're going to do a second strand with wire work, and you'll see what happens. So to start, for the piece that's going to hold the pendant, we are going to string it in this color block design. So actually, let me show you the whole thing here. Twist that around. So I'm just going to copy this pattern on the other side to make the full necklace. And this could be your whole design if you want. So we're just going to mirror this on the other side. One thing is, if I put this pendant right on the wire, that does mean like there's a higher chance that I can kind of scrape against the wire. I mean, it is high quality beading wire from Softflex, but just to help protect it and keep it a little safer, I'm just going to add 2 11-0 seed beads onto my stringing wire. And this way the pendant will sit on top of these. So it's a little bit more, protection for my stringing wire. So I'm going to add 2 of those, string on my pendant. And so those will actually sit over the seed beads. And now I'm going to mirror my pattern on the other side. So I basically did these sections of 5 beads. So whichever stone it is 5 beads. Until the end, I did 18. You'll have to adjust for whatever length you want. So these peridot faceted irregular rondelles, they have smaller holes. So at first I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to use them with medium Softflex, but I've been able to get most of the beads through it, which has been great because I love that I'm getting to use a gemstone as my spacer. But some of the beads on your strand will not fit through here. Some of them, the holes are a little smaller. So just be aware of that. So let's see, I've added 2 of those. Now I'm going to add 5 of my 10 millimeter peach moonstone sunstone mix beads. So let's add 5 of these. I hope it's helpful to kind of hear about some of the design process behind how I got to this idea today that you will see unfold before you. All right, we've got 5 of those, and then my spacer will be one of the little peridots. I think that's a nice way to break up each component. I also like just having that pop of green throughout the whole thing. All right, let's add 5 of the amethyst. I had a lot of fun first just putting together this palette. I loved looking through our stock of gems and seeing what blended well together, what gave me that spring feel. And I just love how green, purple, and orange go together. I guess it's all the secondary colors. You know, if you think about the color wheel, you got your primary colors and then your secondary colors, how they all sit together. And I mean, I guess, and also just these tones of it, I think work really nicely in a piece. So I actually picked out all the beads for the design, and before I even, started stringing, and I was like, all right, these are the beads I'm going to use. This is my challenge. and we'll see what I make with it. And I was able to use all the beads that I had initially picked out. I'm going to keep going with my color blocked pattern. So I'm going to add 5 of these olive shimmer faceted rondelles. I like that these are a bit more transparent than some of the gems, just to add a little bit of lightness. A little more light can come through. Again, I'll use one of the peridot pieces. Oops, that went flying. I'll just grab another one. That one, the hole was too small, so just gonna try another one till one fits. There we go. And then I chose to just use the 6mm peach moonstone all the way to the back. So I like that this brought the color that was at the front to the back of the design. And since it's smaller, I kind of like the idea of having some more smaller beads, lighter weight beads near the back. So we're going to string on 18 of these. And then we'll be able to crimp the end and we'll have the first strand of our necklace complete. Or it could be your only strand if that's what you want to do. It is up to you where you take this design. Some folks might be watching this live on Friday, or maybe you're watching this over the weekend. I hope, wherever you are right now, I hope you'll kind of start opening up your bead stash, open up some boxes, and just see what flowers you have. What floral elements could you take out? I mean, there's so many great, especially check glass floral elements. Oh, I didn't even show you those yet. We're going to be using some check glass flowers as well, because I didn't want there to just be one flower in this design. So that'll be coming. So I think get those out and see what you can do with them. I just have my last few beads to put on here. And then I probably should just double check that it roughly matches the length of the other side, that it's even. All right. I'm going to lay those next to each other. If I was, you can also count to make sure it's exactly the same number of beads. But yeah, that looks good. So now we will crimp this and have that jump ring there. So let me grab, I have a crimp tube and a jump ring here. I'm going to make sure this jump ring is fully closed. All right, so now add on my crimp tube through the jump ring and then back through the crimp tube. And this is where I just got to figure out, how tight, how loose do I want this to be? I want to make sure it's not too tight because I want it to hang well. I'll move some things out of the way. Let's see. I'd rather have it be a little looser rather than a little too tight. But let's see, maybe we can make it a little. Got some nice movement to it. All right, I feel ready to crimp that. I was trying out our Xuron crimpers that we have in the shop because Sam is such a huge fan of them. And Sarah was using all of her Xuron crimpers on her recent live. So it works for me. I thought it came out nicely. So let's see. I'm first just seeing if I can make it so that my two threads don't overlap in the crimp tube. Honestly, I always find that to be the trickiest part. So I'll do the best I can. All right, so in the back part of the crimper, we'll do that, and then we'll bring it forward to fold that in half. And then I will cut off some of this extra. Let's see. See if I can tuck that in. It probably might have been easier if I had actually tucked this in before I crimped it. Otherwise, I might just end up cutting. For now, I'm just going to leave that. But there we go. This is the beginning of my piece. We're only just getting started, I promise. So we're starting off with this fabulous stringing element. Here, I can hold it up for a sec. I'll make myself bigger, and you can see where the design is starting. Here we go. So that could be your piece right there, but I want to keep going. I want to make this extra, make this even more special. So for this next one, we're going to do a mix of stringing and wire work. So I have one side of my chain already. So this is where I wanted to continue that floral theme into the other piece. So I have these fabulous fairy tale flowers that are so sweet and dainty. This is like this cool orange and clear mix with this cool coating on it. We have these aster flowers and this fun green and gold, some lavender amethyst faceted ovals, and I brought over one of the peach moonstone pieces as well. So that is one side of the chain. We're going to make a second side of the chain and then a very cool focal element. Here, I'll give you a sneak peek. I made one as a sample, but this is going to be right here in the center in the second layer of our necklace, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to make some of this chain. So you just are going to want to wire wrap a bunch of these elements. So I'll show you how I do that. I'll remake one of these. Let's see here. So this is where I'm using my 24 gauge artistic craft wire. I always like to use it like off of the spool. I find I waste less wire that way. So what I'll do, I'm going to show you how to make this one. So first I need a peridot chip, or not chip, a rondelle. So one of those, then one of my fairy tale flowers. Probably would have helped if I straightened out my wire a little bit, make it a little easier to get on. And then another peridot rondelle. All right, now I want to add a wire wrapped loop on both sides. So I'm going to fold that over and then move over my pliers, bring the wire around. So I have my loop. Then I will hold that loop down with my flat nose or chain nose pliers and wrap this around probably 3 or 4 times is what I went for and what I tried to match on the other side as well. I will cut off the excess. I can try to tuck that in as well. All right, then I will bring that down. And this is why I like having it on the spool, because I don't even have to cut and guess how much wire I need. It'll just use exactly how much it needs to use. So I want a little space for my wrapping. So I'm gonna hold that here and bend it over so that way that's where my wire wrapping will end up. We'll make a loop over that. And I will hold my loop down while I wrap it about 3 or 4 times. Oops. Turn that off. So the way that I approach this, there's a term in cooking that I think some people know called mise en place, which is all about having mise en place, all of your elements, all your ingredients in cooking. If you're like all prepped in front of you, chop up all your onions and your peppers and your celery and, have everything prepped so then you can just start assembling. And so I kind of took that approach with this design and I just made all of my elements. So I continued to wire wrap each of these little components. And what's nice is I then use jump rings to attach them. And that way I didn't have to worry about connecting them right away. It also gave me flexibility. I kind of changed up the design a few times. I could kind of, attach some jump rings, see how it laid. If I didn't like the order of the beads, I could just switch it around. And so If you don't mind having some jump rings, kind of, I mean, also just kind of elongates the chain. I think if you're okay with that, then it's kind of nice to kind of pre-make all of your elements. So let me make one more of the elements for you, just so you can see that process again. And then we will start, and actually then we'll make the centerpiece to this one. So I'm going to straighten this out a little bit this time. That'll just make my life easier. So let's make one of the aster flower ones. Let's see, do I have any more aster flowers? Well, I might have used them all up actually. So we'll just do it again with the fairy tale flowers. So one of the peridot rondelles. Let's see, where's the hole on this one? One of my flowers. Let's see, I had to grab a different one. You know what's actually what I'm realizing? This orange flower is like a pretty good color match to these. I picked it out clearly realizing that it matched well, but now I'm like, oh yeah, that really does match nicely. I love how that looks together. All right, so we'll do the same thing. We'll add a wire wrap loop on both sides. You might use some larger chain nose pliers. I might like that better. Get that loop a little smaller. There we go. All right, I went around 4 times. I'm going to chop off the excess. And I can just bring back up all my beads. And let's add a loop to this end. I'm not really worrying too much about how my wire wrapping looks. There's kind of a lot going on in this design that I just don't think anyone's going to look that close. And if they do, this is what it's meant to look like. All right, so you'll make all of your components, and then actually I'll go ahead and attach them now. So I am using these fabulous oval jump rings from TierraCast. What I love about oval jump rings is that the opening is on the side of it, which is not where your beads are, or like what your components are not going to be pulling against where the opening is. They'll end up sitting, on those longer edges of it. And so I don't know, I feel like it's a kind of more secure jump ring in that way. So I'm a big fan of them. So we'll just open these up, and I'll follow the pattern that I came up with on the other side. My wire is attacking me over here. All right, so at the bottom, I want the aster flower followed by the fairy tale flower, because I want the florals right up there, close to the center. I also use these lavender amethyst faceted ovals. For these ones, I didn't put a peridot rondelle on both sides. I just thought I would change it up for this one and just do the oval by itself. But you could add the peridot as well there if you just want to have it everywhere. All right, then I did another one of the aster flowers. The aster flowers are like just little suns. I think aster means sun I don't know if is that Latin or something. But I don't know, I love that little sun beads, flowery suns. All right, just have 2 more I need to add. I think I might actually, right now I'm using my one plier in my fingers, and I feel like that's going to be making my fingers do a lot of work. So I'm going to switch to using 2 pliers, and that honestly is so much better. And then I just have 1 more to add. We sell these jump rings in about like, I think it's like 80-piece packs. So you get a lot of pieces, which is good because you use quite a bit, you know, throughout this design. Definitely not nowhere near 80 pieces. Oh, the bead train is coming through. There it is, louder and louder. All right, so we've got a stringing element. We have our chain, which you could make this second strand just chain, totally cool. But I told you, I'm going extra today. I want this to feel as big of a statement as possible. So I'm going to show you how I made this piece that's going to sit right in the center. So this is strung. So I knew I wanted to use these pear brios in the center. They really have the look of a focal, of a centerpiece. But I was thinking, okay, do I use wire? Like, do I use craft wire or do I use stringing wire? And I was like, I decided to go with stringing wire because I just thought that would just have a nice movement to it and create this nice curve in the piece, which it really ended up doing quite nicely. So let's copy that. Let's make that again. So I'm going to use the same medium copper colored soft flex that I used for my other stringing. So I can use, let's see, this piece. Well, I'm going to not use the shorter piece just to be safe. I'm going to use my longer piece just to make my life easier. So let's crimp one side. When I'm designing, I won't crimp one side. Like I'll make I'll be like, put them on, kind of adjust it, play around. And then once I'm happy with it, I'll crimp on both ends. But since I already know what I'm doing, I can just go ahead and crimp one side. Okay, let's add a crimp. And I like adding the jump ring at this stage rather than afterwards. I feel like it's easier, but obviously the jump ring's open and closed, so you don't have to add them onto the loops right now if you don't want to. But I do want to make sure that's closed. So then I'll go through the jump ring and then back through the crimp tube. There really isn't anything too complicated in this piece. It's really it was much more about design and playing with the beads and seeing what happened, seeing how I could show off this really cool pendant. Nothing complicated, but just how do I incorporate all of these colors and shapes together? All right, let's crimp this down. Maybe it is easier to do the jump ring later. Now it's like dancing and getting in the way. It's kind of funny. All right, crimp that. I'll keep a little bit of extra wire that I can tuck into the beads, but I definitely don't need this much at all. Probably just enough to go through like one of the beads. So now let's string on these. I went with a pretty like chunky focal. I thought that balanced well with the pendant below it. And I don't know, that was a little funky, a little different. So I tried out using like smaller, those peridot beads and kind of some smaller beads between each of these pear brios. And I just wasn't feeling it. I liked the purple and the green together. And I like that all the beads are chunky in this part of the project. So I'm just going to go back and forth between the 8mm purple amethyst and the check pear brios. I'm going to end up with 5 pear brios and 6 of the amethyst. All right, we're almost there. A few more strung on. There's the 5th pear brio, and then I want one more amethyst to frame the other side. All right, there we go. Look at that. Okay, one thing I think I'm also realizing that I like about this is in this necklace, I have, this more of the orange tones in the center between the peach moonstone sunstone mix and this copper and brass component. Like it's a lot of orange at the front. And so for my second strand, like I could have also put orange in the front, but I think that would have been a little too like monotone. They would have kind of blended together too much. So I really like that the center of my top necklace is purple and green in the center. So you have a little more contrast right next to each other. So let's add a crimp tube and get this finished off. So crimp tube, then one of my jump rings. That one looks like it's closed. And then we'll go back through the crimp. Go through the crimp. I guess maybe I'll just go back through one of the beads at the same time. Let's try that this time. All right, this is definitely a place where I need to be thoughtful. I do not want to make this too tight. I don't want it to like stick straight. I want it to be able to keep this little bit of a curve that it has. So let's see. Make it a little tighter, but not too much more. Let's see there. That seems pretty good. We'll crimp that down. And then fold it in half. And then I will cut off the excess. All right. This is our homemade focal for the other strand. This one we got some help from an artisan. This one we made ourselves. We are the artisan for this one. All right, so now we're just gonna keep connecting everything. So I've already have the jump rings on there. So I'm just gonna connect them to the chain that I made. Hook that onto that side. Oops, try that again. Didn't close that well. Let's see. I need a second pair of pliers. I don't know why. I always try to use my hands and then I'm feel like I'm just hurting myself and I don't even like how it looks. So there we go. 2 pliers. I prefer that. Even if I don't do it do that at first. All right, we'll grab this one with our 2 pliers, open it up. It's amazing. Once you have the components made, they come together so quickly. You just add a couple jump rings and everything's attached. All right, so let me see if I can show you how I want to zoom out here. But now I want to finish off the ends. In this case, I think I'm just gonna have this extra stringing wire from earlier. I'm just gonna cut it off. All right, so now I want to attach my toggle. So I'm using the rectangle Jardin toggle from TierCast in antique copper. So pretty. In a way, it has that floral element, obviously in the name, but as well, and you can kind of see it has those swirls, and it kind of looks like foliage in a way. So the way that I chose to do this is I want to add a jump ring to both of these, and then those 2 jump rings to another jump ring. I'll show you what I mean. Let's see here. I could attach, both, let me bring this down so you can see it. I could attach the, my chain that I made as well as the stringing that I made. Like I could attach those both with a jump ring, like 2 jump rings, one on each of those directly in there, but that seems like a lot going right into the toggle. So this way I feel like it's a little bit of a smoother transition. All right, so now I have a jump ring on both ends here, and now I'm going to add a 3rd jump ring to bring it together. So with this one, I will hook on to both of these and then hook that through my toggle. Let's see here. There we go. All right, I have one side of my toggle attached. Now I want to add on the other side. So let's see this side. Okay, it looks like I have a jump ring on both of those already. So I'll just grab one to bring them together. All right, I probably want to just make sure, I don't know, nothing's too tangled up here. Might be helpful to even kind of have gravity help me here. There we go, I lifted it up, then lay it back down. I think that'll help make it be less twisted. We'll try at least. All right. Now I'll attach these. Hook my jump ring onto both of those. Then the other, this is the bar side of my toggle. Try that again. And voila! Just like that, we have a finished piece here. I'll stick that through. We have a finished piece bringing together some wire work, some stringing, a fabulous focal from Patricia Healey, and it looks pretty cool. Here we go. Show you a bit more of it. Let me put this on and you can see how it looks. Let's see. Make myself bigger. This is a piece I made with these Patricia Healey birds. I don't know, maybe it was a month ago or a little bit more than that. So let's replace it with this one. Oh my God. Okay, well, first I just got to show it to you guys. We're just like dripping in gemstones and beads here. Let's see. There we go. So much fun. Well, the toggle is very easy to put on yourself, so I do like that. This shirt has a bit of a high neckline. Probably would look better with something with a little bit of a lower neckline, but let's see. Oh my God. The video is mirrored from what I'm actually doing, so let's see if I can get it. Maybe if I just don't, I'm just going to not look at the video while I try to even it out. Everything is the opposite. All right, there we go. Here is my finished piece. So you can kind of see how I tried to balance out the size of this focal by having, both strands really have some weight and size to them. I did kind of, when I was initially designing it, I had to play around really to get the height right because I really, I needed enough distance between the two strands that, they overlap a little bit in the center, but not too much. But there we go. This is my design with the 3-layered flower. I hope this inspires you all to pick out some of your gemstones, some of your check glass, some of your florals and bring them together. I don't know. I really love how I was able to carry that floral theme, not just in the focal, but by bringing in the aster flowers and the fairy tale flowers, has some florals all throughout. So it really is might have a whole little garden in my design. So this is my piece for today. I hope you will check out Sam's Bead Shop and pick up some of these goodies for yourself. You are welcome to try out this design for yourself or make your own version, whatever you would like. Well, I guess I can leave it on. I don't need to take it off. Let's put it back on. A couple things coming up in the shop that you might want to know about. We're having a bonus sale tomorrow, Saturday, here at Sam's Bead Shop. Shira and Sam will be showing off some new gems, as well as doing a spring cleaning with, so that means it's lots of good deals. So 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, Saturday, March 30th. So they want to end off this month with a bang, with a fabulous extra bonus sale. So I hope you will join them at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Saturday the 30th. And then next week, we've got, our Tuesday, Thursday live sales, another class next Friday. Lots of good things going on here at the shop. You can also check out our bead box, the Sam's bead box. We're now kicking off the 4th year of our boxes, and we have some fabulous designs and themes coming your way. I'm very excited about the April box. So use code VIP if you're a new subscriber, and you can get the April box as your first box, and you'll get $5 off that first one. So I hope you will join the bead box family. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with me and playing around. I just got to show it off one more time. Here are some of the Patricia Healey elements we have. I really want to design something with this night sky pendant that's domed. Oh my God, and how like the moon and the star move. I really want to make something. I know you could maybe grab some beads from like your Colors of the Cosmos box and really get into that otherworldly theme, or go with the butterfly to keep going with the spring theme, or this rosette button. So we're starting to build our collection here. So that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed class. Please give this video a like, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of class today, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.